Dear Mr. Zaal, I really was surprised to hear you talking about agriculture in Kenya. I had some questions to ask you. Are you convinced of the development cooperation, the focus shifting from subsistence farmers, let's say small farmers, to medium-sized farmers, and a trickle-down effect that is supposed to create? So the shift of small
Yeah,
scale
from
farmers to
really
medium
small scale
farmers
farmers to
in a
medium
development
scale
sector.
farmers.
Yeah.
Well, there's a number of things. One is certainly the medium-sized farms have a role to play in introducing innovations in the area, in showing the usefulness of a certain crop model, cropping model, crop choice. But I think it also means that you're underestimating small-scale agriculture. That is much more productive, much more innovative than many people think. And also, I think what it also does is it forgets about the impact of focusing on middle level farmers, in the sense that they may expand, so production may expand for the local market. What are the small-scale farmers going to do if they are no longer farming? So, in terms of food production, they produce 70% or so of the food in the country, but they consume quite a bit of that. If they can't produce more for themselves, for the family, and for a market, which we see does happen given the chance, they will have to abandon farming altogether. And then the problem is, what do we do with a large group of people that have no access to land, can't farm, and have no employment either? So there is a question there of scale and of labor and food security.
So you don't really agree with this shifting. I think you are hoping for an inclusive, let's say.
Well,
inclusive
that's what the embassy is proclaiming. It's focusing on inclusive agricultural development and rural development. If you take that seriously, you have to think about the impact of focusing on middle level farmers. I wasn't very happy to hear that middle level farmers, in this case, for example, Latja, focusing on absentee farmers, telephone farmers. If that is the kind of farm we want to focus on, I think it's going to have a lot of negative spillover effects. So I would propose to keep an eye on the balance between small scale and large scale, and giving small scale agriculture a real chance by actually providing them with the inputs that they need, small packages of inputs, the type of knowledge that they need, improved varieties of crops that are disease resistant. There's so much more possible, and that's not focused on now. So I think it's a lost opportunity if you would focus on the telephone farmers only.
Okay. I think this is the shadow side of doing farming business in Kenya. Can you talk about the more, let's say, bright side of doing business in Kenya?
I'm not saying that this is a negative side. As I was explaining, there is so much going on in small-scale and medium-scale agriculture in Kenya. I think that's a very dynamic part of the economy. Yeah, it's quite interesting. There's a lot of experimentation going on as well about delivery models for inputs, as was discussed, models for marketing, and I think we could learn from that very, very quickly changing and innovative sector in the economy.
I have a last question. Who do you think should take the lead in creating inclusive economic development? Is it Kenya itself, the private sector, the government, or is it the Netherlands?
There's not one single actor or stakeholder who can do this. It is always a matter of everybody being involved. I don't want to. Well, it's also a bit of a power play between actors. Who is able to dominate the discussion and steer it into a desired direction? That's an interesting question. Wasn't discussed here, but there must be some form of competition somewhere. We're talking about private sector. Are we expecting that discussion to come out with something that's useful for the masses in Kenya, the population at large? I think that would be my my most important question You know, we're talking about people. They want to have an income. They want to buy stuff. The way the economy is going to be organized, that is another matter altogether. So who is going to decide in the direction of all of that? That's also a power play. We can't steer it. Depends on all the actors together.